Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.
From St. Louis Public Radio. This is St. Louis on the Air.
Well, that was 8 years ago, and my voice was not back then where it is today. So that was part of it for sure. Part of it was
some whiskey and cigarettes have developed your voice? Or?
Yeah. Years ago, that is the truth.
Why better men than me don't have it better than I do, while the one that's lying next to you.
To me, country music is just story songs. And so a lot of my influences are more Heartland American rock. We get cold country today, but, we're not super Southern about it.
I'm Sarah Fensky. Matt Jordan is a native of Eureka, aiming for country music stardom. He sold his cybersecurity business to devote himself to that pursuit full-time. Well, that was 2019, and 2020 and 2021 proved spectacularly tough years for musicians. But Matt Jordan has kept busy, regularly releasing new singles throughout the pandemic. His newest song came out last month. It's called Heart of the Heartland.
That horizon doesn't look too far. Let's pull the trigger, take a shot in the dark. Let's catch fire straight through the heart of the heartland. Give these times every mile of highway that we can. Sights set on the rise.
And that is Heart of the Heartland by Matt Jordan. He's a country artist based in Baldwin, and these days also spending a lot of time in Nashville. He performs at Blueberry Hills Duck Room this Friday, and he joins us now to share more. Matt Jordan, welcome.
Hey there, thanks for having me.
So, Matt, I understand Heart of the Heartland paints this picture of driving down I-70.
Yep.
Does the Heartland then start in St. Louis?
I think that the Heartland is Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Iowa, all those states. And so it was just a compelling image driving down 70 all the way west out of St. Louis,
So you're driving west, and the song sort of starts at midnight. I get the sense you're in kind of a small town,
Yep.
decide to pick up, head toward the ocean.
You got it.
Does the songwriter make it there?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. It's a song about hope and starting a new adventure.
And so this heartland that you're depicting in this song, this is a Midwestern landscape. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we think of country music as being more Southern. You even have a reference to sort of the Rust Belt in there. Yep. Do you think there's room for more of a Rust Belt focus in country music these days?
I think so, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do is really focus on the Midwest. I'm from the Midwest. I grew up here, and I think country music does have a reputation of being Southern music, and to me, country music is just story songs. And so a lot of my influences are more Heartland American rock than they are country, even we get bucketed in country. But I think that the Midwest is a great place for country music, and I think songs like this people can relate to. They grew up around here.
So when you're talking like Heartland American rock, I'm thinking Mellencamp. I'm barking up the right tree here.
Of course, John Mellencamp, Bruce Springsteen, Tom Petty, Bob Seger, all those guys.
So this is more classic rock.
Yes, I would consider those are my influences. I grew up on George Strait and Garth Brooks and stuff too, but I'm more influenced by Heartland American rock, and we get cold country today, but we're not super Southern about it.
So you feel like this is the kind of the same music that you grew up on. They might give it a different label.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that if Bruce Springsteen or John Mellencamp was coming out today, I think they would be considered country artists. Their genre's just kind of gone away.
Interesting,
in today's
yeah.
world,
Yeah, I mean, there's not much coming out where you'd say, that guy sounds like a young Springsteen.
Yeah.
Maybe I think that because I'm not listening to country music.
There's a little bit of it in country, but to be fair, there's not a lot of that stuff happening right now.
So is that harder, that you're kind of going against the grain of where popular music is going right now? You're not so easy to define.
Yes, it is challenging, but it's also fun because I think there is a gap in the market. Country music has really gone pretty poppy and pretty hard rock in the last couple of years, last decade probably, I guess. So yeah, it's more challenging to find our lane. But I do believe there's a place for it, you know.
There is that lane.
Yeah, I think so.
So you moved to Nashville originally to be a songwriter. At that point, were you thinking of yourself as someone who'd sing your own songs?
I was not. I really did move there intending to write songs for other people.
You have a great voice. I'm kind
you.
of curious why you would not want to lead with that.
Well, that was 8 years ago, and my voice was not back then where it is today. So that was part of it for sure. Part of it was a
some
confidence
whiskey and
thing.
cigarettes have developed your voice? Or?
Yeah. Years ago, that is the truth. Yeah, I think that it was a confidence thing too. I didn't have a lot of performing experience at the time, and so being on stage scared me. And now, you know, really once I got to Nashville and started playing some songs and getting out and playing a bit, I realized I wanted to be the one to sing my songs, you know.
And so then did you have to sort of consciously like pivot to, okay, I'm going to spend time on performing, not so much just, you know, writing these amazing lyrics?
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I really did continue writing a lot, but it was more writing for my sound and trying to figure out what my sound was and not trying to write what was commercial or hitting on radio at the time, which is kind of what I was trying to do when I first moved to be a songwriter. And then, of course, yeah, we had to figure out how to get shows, you know. And so we did that, you know, years ago, and then the pandemic hit, and obviously that made it more challenging.
So you were doing this out in Nashville. What led you decide to move back? You're now in Baldwin. Mm-hmm. I know you still spend a lot of time there, but what made you decide to make this your base camp?
It's home. You know, St. Louis is always home, and I love Nashville, and there are days when I miss Nashville like crazy. But my wife and I decided to start a family, and both our families are here, and we're both close to our families, and it was just important for us to be back here raising our kids around our family. And yeah, it's different doing it in St. Louis than it was in Nashville for sure, but I'm glad to be back. It's good to be here.
So you now have 3 kids.
I do.
Your youngest is like really little.
3 months today. Yeah.
3 months. So
yeah.
You're like still in the hard part
oh,
right there.
we're in the hard part, yeah.
Oh man. I mean, so is that hard? This is the point where things are starting to open up a little bit again. Mm-hmm. People are willing to be there for live shows, and yet you've got a 3-month-old. You can't just strand your wife at this point.
I don't strand my wife, but she is very supportive. We just played in Nashville last week, and she came down and brought the kids, and
wow.
Her mom came down with her and watched the kids during the show so Jenna could come. And yeah, I don't strand her, but she is very supportive of it. She's a good dreaming partner for me.
That is a good dreaming partner.
Yeah, she is.
Well, I want to play a track. I feel like this track might be a little bit on point with when we're talking about the dad thing. We'll see. We'll talk about it after we play it. This is from your first EP, which was called Middle of Everything. It came out in October of 2021, and this song is called Better Men.
You're a turn every head in a 4-room. I'm faded blue jeans and an old pair of boots. You're a half glass of red, I'm a whiskey shot watering down. I know I ain't no Romeo to make you Juliet. What you get is what you see, and what you see is what you get. And I can't explain the way things happen like they do. Why that Mississippi is muddy, or why the sky is painted blue. Why better men than me don't have it better than I do. Why I'm the one that's lying next to you.
And that is Better Men by the country music artist Matt Jordan. He is my guest here today. He'll be playing Blueberry Hills Duck Room this Friday. That's March 4th. So, Matt, this seems like maybe a tribute to your wife?
It is very much, yeah. I write a lot of songs, hundreds a year probably, and I don't write a lot of love songs. They just don't come natural, but I have the best wife in the world. And Better Men came about after a friend of mine was going through a divorce, and I got thinking about why I am fortunate to have the wife that I do, and that's kind of how I started that song.
So when were you able to first play it, whether you're doing it live or playing her recording of it? When did your wife first hear this song?
Oh, I probably sent her a memo of it. I don't know. I was in the basement late at night. I know that, and I recorded it on my phone and probably texted it to her while she was sleeping upstairs.
So it sounds sounds like you didn't do a big reveal.
No,
hey, here's what I'm working on.
There's no big reveals anymore. There's so many songs in the can at this point that there's no big reveals anymore.
So is she somebody you're just kind of constantly getting feedback from as you're writing?
Yes, when I feel like when I'm not sure about a song, I tend to send it to her and get her thoughts. She's really supportive, but she's also really good at giving feedback and giving me honest advice on where I could take songs. She's helped me write a couple lines. So yeah, she's a good person to bounce things off of.
She's kind of your editor there.
She is, yes. She's a really good writer, and she's a lot smarter than I am, so she's a good editor to have.
So you are pretty lucky to have this woman in your life.
I am.
In addition to toting around a 2.5-month-old baby going down to Nashville. I mean,
she's a superstar for sure.
Yeah. Well, wow. So yeah, that's a lovely song. So that is the idea of a love song like that. That's a little bit out of your wheelhouse, but you sound very comfortable singing it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, once you had it down.
Yep. It's writing them that is, they just don't come natural. And I think it's because a lot of love songs, I think, can be really cheesy. So I try to write them, and they come out cheesy. And so I have like two that I'm like, they could actually do this and not feel like a goofball singer.
Yeah.
You know?
And I heard there was some St. Louis imagery in there. You're talking about the Mississippi being muddy. And do you find yourself sort of inspired by the city around you?
I do, yeah. And I think the longer I've been home, the more I try to pull, St. Louis imagery and, growing up in Eureka, pull that imagery into my songs a bit. And it's just kind of wherever you surround yourself with is what you're going to write into songs. And a big part of writing songs is, painting a picture. So when I was in Nashville, I was writing songs with more Southern imagery, and now I'm home, and the Midwest is starting to come out a little bit.
You're doing that Rust Belt imagery
that's right,
there.
That's
yeah.
Right.
Well, so you're doing this all from St. Louis, and we know that anyone can record anything from anywhere. There's great recording studios in all sorts of cities, not just in Nashville. But I imagine you miss out on some of the networking, these deals that get done just because people know each other. They hire each other for things. Is that hard to not be there for that?
It is, and up until our third baby came, I was spending about a week a month in Nashville, and I'll get back to that soon once he sleeps. So I am still there. I do record there. I still have a bunch of co-writers that I write with there. Zoom, since the pandemic hit, has been great. I still get to write with people and have meetings, even from my basement here in St. Louis. So, yeah, it is hard knowing that I'm missing out on some things. But again, I think there's a gap in the Midwest where there's not a lot of country music, air quotes around country, being done here. And so, we're kind of trying to take over the Midwest. And so there's not a lot of people doing it. So there is benefit musically to being here for sure.
And so performing-wise, as you say, not nearly as much competition as you'd find in Nashville, in St. Louis, clubs around town. Are you also going to take this show on the road to other parts of Missouri, beyond Missouri?
For sure. That's the hope. The goal is to play everywhere in Missouri and start really in the Midwest and hit. There's a lot of good cities where I think there's an appetite for the music we make. Within driving distance. I mean, Kansas City, Chicago, Indianapolis, Louisville, Kentucky, Southern Missouri, Fayetteville, Arkansas. There's a lot. And so we really are focused on tackling the Midwest first. And yeah, we want to get on the road for sure.
So you're contemplating, you feel the road calling at this point.
I do. And we're working like crazy to get shows. And booking is, it's a maddening game for an artist without a record deal. And so my nights when my son is sleeping in the basement next to me, I'm sitting there sending booking emails and trying to get shows. So we're grinding at it.
Wow. So you're grinding.
Yep.
You mentioned not having a record deal. You have all this music that you've been sort of steadily releasing throughout the pandemic. Is the goal to get a deal for that to come together as an EP or an LP?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I care to have a record deal at this point. Doing it independent is nice because, we kind of talked about I don't really conform to what mainstream country is doing today, and that's kind of the ask of most record deals if you get them. So it's nice doing it independent from a standpoint of creative freedom, and we got a lot of music. I got a lot of music coming out this year. We just released Heart of the Heartland a week and a half ago, and there'll be about, I don't know, probably 15 songs in 2022.
Wow.
A lot of songs coming out.
You're having no problem writing these songs.
No problem writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a ton of songs that have never been released, and I'm going down to Nashville to record a bunch next 2 weeks from now. So, yeah, a lot's coming.
And not necessarily looking for the record deal. You want to do it your way.
If the right deal approached and offered me something, I might consider it, but it would have to be a good deal. And those are hard to come by.
Yeah. And so until then, you're going to support your own work, be out on the road, raising awareness of Matt Jordan.
That's right. That's right.
Well, people can catch you. You're going to be playing Blueberry Hills Duck Room. This is on Friday. That's March 4th. The doors open at 7 p.m. The show opens at 8. That'll be a great chance to see what you're up to, get the live experience that you're going to be taking to all these other cities. People can hear it here first.
Yep, that's right.
So, well, Matt Jordan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And we're going to go out of the show with another song from Matt Jordan. This is a song Matt wrote 8 years ago. This is before he went full-time as a musician and we're just a songwriter. This episode was produced by Kayla Drake with audio engineering and podcast design by Aaron Dorr. Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer. St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations. And leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thanks.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri, St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, providing more than 41,000 jobs in the production of wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details at choosewood.com.